DJ Cumberbund.
Yeah, this one right here goes out to all the babies, mamas.
Yeah!
Mamas. Baby mamas. Yeah, go like this. I'm sorry, Miss Jackson. Ooh, I am for real. Never meant to make your daughter cry. I apologize a trillion times. I'm sorry, Miss Jackson. Ooh, I am for real. Never meant to make your daughter cry. I apologize a trillion times.
Headed down a southern trail, I'm going chicken hunting, chopping redneck chicken necks. I ain't saying nothing to the hillbilly. My barrel in his eye. Boom shaka, hair chunks in the sky. Why? I never like chicken pot pie or the chopped chicken and rye. Tell Mr. Billy Bob Roberts, neck gut slice. Oh, chop, stab, cut.
I'm sorry, Miss Jackson. Ooh, I am for real. Never meant to make your daughter cry. I apologize a trillion times. I'm sorry, Miss Jackson. Ooh, I am for real. Never meant to make your daughter cry. I apologize a trillion times.
Bullets in your mouth, bullets to your head, the back of your neck's all over the shed. Boom, shaka, boom, chop, bang. I'm too dope and it ain't no thing. You cut a chicken, triggers clicking, blow up his but his beat still kicking. Blast as long as you can, my man, cause when that chicken head hits the fan, yeah.
I'm sorry, Miss Jackson. Ooh, I am for real. Never meant to make your daughter cry. I apologize a trillion times.
Who's going chicken hunt? We's going chicken hunt. Who's going chicken hunt? We's going chicken hunt. Who's going chicken hunt? We's going chicken hunt. Cut up on the chicken hunt.
And your daughter got such thing going on. You say it's puppy love, we say it's full ground.
Chicken nuggets.
Hope that you feel this way forever. You plan a pretty picnic, but you can't predict the weather.
Went to Kentucky.
All right, Friday night live coming at you. Thank you for joining us. It is episode whatever we made up.
It's episode Friday
Sorry,
Night
Chris.
Live.
Doesn't matter. 75, 77,
It's
70.
200.
It's 200. We have to say thanks to our chat sponsor, BMX Rocks Photography. You can check them out at bmx-rocks.com. Make sure you guys check them out. Midwest, taking lots of pictures at all the races. They can even make me look like I'm going fast. They do a very good job.
Yeah.
Our showcase is brought to you by Answer BMX. Newsmaker segment brought to you by our good friends over at BMX Racing Forum. If you guys are looking to get a website built, make sure you check them out. Do an awesome job making websites. Melissa is going to do her trivia this evening. Bonus edition.
Yes.
So it's brought to you
That's
by the
true.
bonus edition Ray's MTV Park. Sounds good.
It works for me. I even got
Paul's
mine.
MIA, Damon's MIA, Chris's
I
MIA.
can't see that that's a raise.
And we're just going to hang out. You guys got comments, questions, get them in the chat. And as always, our show opening is brought to you by the good people over at Gate 9 Custom BMX number plates. And if you want a jersey design, pester him enough and he will make it for you.
Speaking of jersey design,
there it is. Rocking them tonight.
they did a pretty good job.
He does an awesome job. Well, you know, Melissa, it's time to grab our Faygo, which is not what's in our glasses this evening.
Nope. Make for a fun day tomorrow.
It will. We'll just make sure we take the crown for Scott.
It'll be gone.
Well,
Sorry.
Get the Mandingo Pickles. Don't be late for the gate. Melissa, let them know where they can watch and listen to the replay.
Absolutely. You guys can find us live or watch all the replays on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, Twitter. All those are sponsored by the Mega Design Group and our good buddy Brian Fell. All of our podcast streams are brought to you by Joe Doherty of the BMX in Our Blood podcast show. We're pretty much on, you can be found anywhere that you're looking for us. So as always, we'd like to hear from you. So let us know what you would like to see in future shows. And don't hesitate to email the show at info@allthingsbmxshow.com. And we'll be able to get your news on or sponsor or spotlight races, things like that you've got going on. So don't hesitate to send us an email. It's the best way to get a hold of us.
Always. And we really appreciate those that are sending information in tonight. We're going to showcase a few of them. And as always, before we welcome in our guests, we want to take a second and make sure that we showcase one of our big sponsors here. And give a shout out to T-Bone, Brian Wilson, and his Carbone Cartel rims. Man, I just saw a sneak peek of the new rims that he's got coming out. Out of control.
I know.
Out of control. I'm going to say colorways are on the table. Not clear.
I mean, lots of options.
Options.
I guess he hasn't made any final decisions yet, but there are lots of designs in the works. So I don't envy his job at all.
Yeah. If you want to see what they look like, you can hang out in the after chat, and maybe he'll show up and tell you about it. Right now, we're going to go over and see the commercial from our friends at the Carbone Cartel. And when we come back, we're going to welcome in our guest all the way from the Sunshine State of Florida via Bogota, Colombia, Mr. Mitch. We'll be right back after this message. You know, I was thinking, really need to get somebody to message Brian while we're on the air.
Why is that?
Because that's his actual cell phone number right there in the commercial. That's his number.
That's true.
Yeah, so that's his number. Message him. Ask him about the new rims. Go ahead. So without further ado, we want to welcome in our guest this evening. Mitch, how are you?
Oh, doing good. How you guys doing?
Hanging out up here in the Mitten State, Friday night. Got you on the show finally.
Yep, finally got it together.
And we're glad you're feeling better.
Yes.
Yeah, been a rough month or so.
Yeah, I would imagine.
Yeah.
And for those that don't know, Mitch, he was a little under the weather with the COVID.
Yeah.
Recovered
COVID
well.
and gallbladder surgery.
Oh, geez. Yeah, that'll do it.
Mm-hmm.
Huh.
All good now, though.
Excellent.
You want to ask Chris's question?
Oh, no, go ahead.
Oh, me?
Yeah.
I don't-
You never get to ask that
I don't
question.
feel comfortable. Mitch, as we ask all of our guests that join us on the All Things show, how'd you get your start in BMX?
See, you did perfect.
My start, 84, 85, 85. Just a little kid running around, seeing kids on BMX bikes, and basically, like, that's what I want to do. And obviously, didn't grow up with all the money in the world, so I wasn't, privileged enough to go to all the races. But I started racing in South Georgia in Albany when the track used to be across town. It wasn't where it is now, but I used to live literally like a mile from where the track is now. And I think I was 14. And so I started racing late. So I started at 14 years old. But when they moved the track to Cheehaw Park, where it is now, I literally helped build the track. I would go out there because I was living right there. I'd go out there with shovels and stuff and help them build the track. Little did I know that 30 years later, it'd be a full-time job.
Right.
But that's where I started racing, was in Albany. I raced there for pretty much a year, and then I moved to Orlando. And as soon as I got to Orlando, it was wide open. We were living about probably 5 miles from where the Orlando track is. And that was back when there was two tracks. They had the MPSA track and the NBL track within 500 yards of each other. And so we would ride both the tracks all the time. And like I said, I wasn't a national rider or a state rider. I was just a local kid racing, going ride the track, and which kind of led me into freestyle. And so we started riding big ramps, quarter pipes, flatland, everything. We had a big half pipe in my buddy's backyard. And that went on until about 89, 90. And then obviously life started setting in, got married, had a kid, and away went to BMX. And I picked it up again in 2003 when my son started racing at 7 years old.
Wow.
And I jumped in it wide open because now I was able to do it the way I wanted to do it back then. I was gonna make sure my kid got to race everything I couldn't race. And we did. We went full on national, state series. You know, him and his sister both. There wasn't too many races on the East Coast that we didn't hit. And that's been wide open ever since. And my son raced for 16 years. And right at 16, my daughter raced for. See, she raced for 7 years. And in that time, it's just how I got started working on tracks. That's a whole nother story.
One
You know,
we definitely want to get into.
I was in construction and heavy equipment stuff, so it just kind of went hand in hand. And I started working on the local track in West Palm and kind of honed my skills there and started working on other tracks in Florida and just kind of made a name for myself down here.
Wow.
Yeah, what year did that happen in?
Let's say I started at West Palm in 2003. My son started racing, and I started working on the track in 2003. As soon as they learned that I could run heavy equipment, they had me working on the track. Even though I didn't know what I was doing, I was just there running equipment.
Wow.
So, but I learned real quick by watching what the kids were riding and how it was working. And I took my knowledge of shaping golf courses and put it to BMX. If I could see what they needed, I could build it.
Mm-hmm.
If they needed a jump to be more lippy, I could make it more lippy. If I needed to be more mellow, I could do it because I could visually see it. So it didn't take me long before I started honing my skills and really building some good stuff.
And
then all the other tracks started taking notice.
The fact, like your golf course experience, when we had talked before, how that it's interesting, and if you can expound on it a little bit, how that correlated into BMX. Aside from the fact if you can see it, you know how to build it, but just when you were telling me before how flowing like I don't know what they call them on a golf course. I just go out there and drink, like a bluff or a mogul or shit. I don't know.
Yeah, well, you have like a BMX turn. Looks exactly like the face of a sand bunker. The big sand bunkers, if you look the way we shape those, we shape the turns the same way.
I could see that correlation.
When I first did my first turn, that's what I thought about. Was I've built hundreds of these on golf courses. Not as big as a BMX turn, but it's the same process of doing it and getting it the right shape. And then it's just a matter of building enough turns to see what works and what doesn't work. That's the key thing there.
Okay. Huh.
What is it that works?
A good apex in the turn.
Write that down, you TOs, right now. We'll expound on what apex means in a few. Yeah,
that's your set point. That's where you're pretty much done turning and you're coming out of the turn. Once you've hit that point, I mean, you as a rider, you know that feeling when you go into a turn where you feel comfortable to kind of get back on the gas again. That's the apex. It's the set point. When you dive your front wheel in there and it feels like it's going to slide out from under you to a certain point, and when it doesn't feel like that anymore, you just went through the apex of the turn.
Evidently, I've never went that fast.
Or paid that close attention.
I actually totally laid on always.
But you know the feeling of when you think you're going to get back on the pedals on a turn.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter how fast you're going. It's just once you hit it, you know it, and it depends on where that is in the turn is how the turn's going to ride.
So I'm going to put this.
Some turns are built backwards.
I'll put this up, and right here.
There you go.
Yep.
The guy in the pink shirt, basically the guy in the pink shirt and the blue shirt, right above them is the apex of that turn. Even though it's not the middle of the turn, it's the apex. That's where you're shooting for. When you come off of that jump, you're aiming for that spot right there where that roof line comes down on top of that turn. That's the spot you're aiming for. Unless you're going to do a high-low, and then you're going to go in high and come out low. But your main racing line is right there in that apex. So that's where you're going to fly in and you're going to set, and you're basically, for lack of a better term, you're going to Terry Tennant it out of there.
Just crank it.
Yep, get that front wheel up and go.
That's great. Now, you've been involved since 2003. If you were to take that timeline till now and say one of the probably funnest builds or that you've had overall.
The funnest build.
Well, are you talking, just to help Mitch narrow it down, racetracks, or because we haven't even touched on the fact that he's into pump tracks?
That was the segue.
Oh, my bad. Well, I didn't. Okay, sorry. That's why I belong back there.
Nope. Velvet Smooth's back there this evening.
I don't know who that is.
And they all, the thing about building tracks all over the world, and like Tom can attest to this, you take away something from every build, whether it be bad or whether it be good. We used to have this little running joke that, certain cities that you go, like one of them might have, we might stay in like a really nice hotel, or one of them, the material you're building with might be perfect, or the machines might be perfect. You go to Baku, Azerbaijan, where we built the track for the European Games and the 2018 World Championships. They had the most amazing toilet paper.
It's the little things.
You couldn't put your finger through it. And me and Tom talked about it. I go, man, this place got a really good toilet paper. That's what we're taking away from here.
That says a lot for everything else.
Yeah, it does. It was pretty. That was a pretty crazy build. The funnest. I mean, it's hard to pinpoint one. I mean, I've had like just fun time building, probably more so doing rebuilds in Florida, because it just turns into just one big party, because you have a handful of the track volunteers out there that are busting their butt with you, and we're eating good food, we're drinking, we're having a good time, and we're building a cool ass track, and we get to watch the kids ride at the end of the day. That's the best part. When we would build these big tracks, we'd go there, build them, never see anybody ride them.
Though when you refer to big tracks like this, you're talking like
the Supercross tracks, the World Championship stuff. You go build them, and you would leave. You'd never get to see anybody ride it. You would hope. I mean, you're basically counting on your skill set to know that track's going to ride the way it's supposed to ride, and 90% of the time they do. You have little glitches here and there, and sometimes we would have to go back and tweak something a little bit, but generally they would always ride pretty good. So, but to me, the funner builds is probably doing the local stuff. I had a lot of fun in Miami South. I mean, they always, they treat you real good. The hospitality is really good. Cape Coral, Nick and the crew there, they're always good to work with. I've done stuff up in the Northeast. I was just at Trumbull actually, and that guy treated me, he was really good to work with. Pretty much just let me run what I wanted to do. We had a conversation when I got there, and after he talked to me, he says, "Do what you want to do. I give you full run. Build what you want to build."
Well, that's really nice. Nice way to handle that.
Yeah, it turned out good. I mean, it's nice when people have the confidence in you to kind of let you do it, even though I want to build what they want, because it's their track and they're the ones that's got to live with it. But if they look at you and go, "You build what you think is going to work and what's going to fit this track," it kind of, then you look at it and you go, "Okay, let's build something."
We had Chris on, and he was singing your praises.
Yeah,
when you were up there.
I watched that episode. He's a good guy. He's crazy. He's crazy, but he's a good guy.
Oh, he lights
His line of work. His line of work. You got to be crazy.
lights himself on fire. That was wild.
He started telling me all them stories. I was like, man, you're crazy. So, but yeah, I'd say the local tracks are probably some of my favorite. I mean, it's cool to go build the big stuff, but on a personal level, it's probably better to do you see the impact more.
Sure.
You know, when you have 20 kids show up on a Saturday night after you've worked all day on the track and you got it ride ready, and you see them out there and they're all excited and they ride until they can't ride no more. That's what it's all about. To me, that's what it's all about, is watching the kids go out there and enjoy it. You know, you build a big track, you build it, you get done, you walk away. Every once in a while, maybe you get a visitor that comes out and rides. So,
How many builds do you think you have under your belt?
Ooh.
Racetracks.
Racetracks. Let's see. Well, all the rebuilds in Florida, like I've done no new stuff. I mean, other than Sarasota with when I was with Tom. But all the tracks in Florida, except for Oldsmar and Riverview, I've rebuilt multiple times. So that they're probably pushing 40 rebuilds in Florida alone. And then regular tracks, Supercross tracks, I want to say 7 Supercross tracks. And then several, probably 6 or 7 regular, what I call just a regular basic track from brand new. Yeah, so I'm saying pushing probably 50 to 60 tracks altogether between rebuilds. A lot of rebuild stuff in Florida, and up in the Northeast. So
That's
quite a few.
Yeah, that's more than I
Quite a few.
expected you'd say.
I've lost count in Florida on how many times I've rebuilt. Like West Palm, we used to change that thing monthly. When I was there when I was full blast,
Yeah.
I could bring equipment in there. We could blow it apart in the weekend, and you would race one track Friday night and a different track on Tuesday.
Wow.
And we'd do it about every 2 months. We would change a straightaway or something, and they never got old there.
God, I can't wait to retire to Florida.
Yeah, plenty of tracks.
It's really humid.
We
in
got
Florida.
enough. Hey, we got plenty of Northerners down here. You'll feel right at home.
We'll talk. We have a long time before there's any
They
retirement
have air
happening.
conditioning.
That is true.
They have
That is
fans
true.
and staging.
So, with that many tracks in mind, do you have a general formula that you follow, or is it just like you show up and get a feel for the land, or
Yeah,
what's the process?
a lot of it. When I show up for like a rebuild, the first thing I want to know is what the age demographic of the track is.
Okay.
That's good.
If you go to a track and there's 50 kids that are from 5 years old to 10 years old, and then there's 10 kids from 10 to 15, obviously you're going to build a track more geared for the crowd that's going to use it. You know, you don't want to build a big burly track if all your kids are under 12 years old.
Can I
You know,
pause you just for a second? So what you're saying is you want to build the product to the customer base, right?
yes. To a certain
Did you
point.
want to say
you
that
wanna-
louder for those in the
Just
back?
for those of you in the back, to a certain point, you want to cater to your customer base.
Yeah, because obviously,
Makes
you know,
sense to
it's-
me.
basically it's who pays the bills. You know,
Mhm.
it's and I go to tracks, and sometimes the track director or the operator, whoever's running the show, they'll have something in their head that they want. You know, they've talked to their riders, and the riders say, "Hey, we want a big triple step up over here, or we want a big tabletop over here," and they'll tell me these things, and I'll tell them, you know, okay, that'll work good, but you might want to put it over here and not where you want it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's going to work better here, or it's going to work better there. Or sometimes they have a great idea and it works out perfect. You know, it depends on how the track is laid out, the spacing you have between the turns, obviously. You know, if you got an odd measurement, and they're wanting to put 3 30-foot jumps in there, and they're just not going to fit.
Mm-hmm.
Then you have to start doing adjusting and telling them, hey, what you want is not going to fit, and then we got to make adjustments that way they can be happy, get what they want, and still have a track that flows good.
So here's the question. This is the clips versus flats question. Local tracks.
Yep.
Pro set or no pro set?
Ooh, that's the $1 million question right there.
Ooh.
It's there again. It goes back to if you got one 16-year-old kid that's a jumper, but his dad is the track operator, and he wants a pro set so his kid can jump something. 9 times out of 10, you might wind up with a pro set. But general rule of thumb is if you don't have the rider base to carry that pro set, then why build it? If you're going to have to maintain it. And I've seen so many times where a track will put in a pro set and it's good for 6 months, and then it just starts going downhill because nobody wants to take care of it because nobody's riding it. You have 2 kids on a weekly basis that might be hitting it. And, obviously we used to build them in Florida. It got big because we used to have a huge pro program down here. So during the state series, every track wanted a pro set so they could showcase the pro class.
Mm-hmm.
And so it got to be a competition down here. Who had the biggest pro set, who had the nicest pro set. And every track wound up with a pro set. You look at all the Florida tracks. There's not too many of them that don't have a pro set somewhere. And it becomes a spacing thing. If your track's not laid out to where you can put a pro set in, you're not going to get one. There's no need to make your track not ride that well because you want to put a pro set in. And I'll tell somebody quick, if you don't have the spacing, it's not going to work. We had to squeeze the one that's in Cape. I mean, we put that one in there, and you see how the amateurs take the 290-degree turns basically, and the pros skip a one whole section. So, that's the track there. It veers off. I would love to change all that and make it one big turn down there.
It's kind of I felt is one of the really fun, unique things there is, so if you haven't been to Cape, in the upper left corner of the picture, there's berm about middle picture, because you have the first berm to the right, and then there's another berm, that's where the pros are. And if you're racing on the amateur section, you got to go down DL's leg burning training rhythm section here, which he will just make you vomit on. And then you do about a 90-degree turn, and then you literally flow in to where the pros land into. And it's a unique, fun.
It is a different design.
Yes. And I'll tell you right now, Pee Wee Lee knows that last turn because he swooped me every damn moto. Shout out to him.
I would like to make that pro set is very jumpy.
Yep.
Which is what they're supposed to be, but it's fun to ride, but not real fun to race. That's what I've been told by a lot of the riders. It's fun to go ride, but it's not fun to race.
Well, I'll tell you, watching the races there, if you can hit that thing, you have a massive advantage, which I feel is important with a pro set, right?
Yeah. I mean, I don't like the term decision maker. Mm-hmm. Especially if it's billed as a pro set. I hate it when they say, "Oh, it's a decision maker." Well, not really, because if it's a true pro set, realistically, anybody under 15 really shouldn't be hitting it. Shouldn't be able to hit it. If it's built like a true pro set where you're jumping 35 feet, then, your average rider is not going to be on a small track like that, where you're not carrying the track speed like you do on a supercross track. Everybody can jump a 35-foot double.
I mean, really, everybody?
Well,
they might not land.
But maybe not you, Justin, but most people.
I'll lawn dart it.
But like most 14, 15-year-old kids can jump a 35-foot double on a supercross track because you got the speed.
Right.
You know, you're coming off massive turns. I mean, the first turn at Sarasota is like bigger than most starting hills.
It is
You know,
massive.
it's huge. You come off of that, if you go high, you're literally starting over again.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, pro sets, that's my take on them. I mean, I like building them; those are cool, but they're not for every track. I mean, some tracks do not need them. I think some tracks are better off just to be what I call a basic local track, and that can be fun. You know, you take Miami South, don't have a pro set. It's a nice track. You know, you got, let's see, which one doesn't have a pro set anymore? Like say, Florida's full of, I think Miami's literally about the only one that doesn't have a pro set anymore. Huh?
It's crazy that he's got them all.
Yeah, Naples,
Naples is a fun track.
Yeah, it gets a bad rap because of the turns.
Well,
The turns are so small, but to me, it's a different style of racing.
it's and for those that haven't been to Naples or don't know why it's a different kind of turn, is the community, township, city limits the height that an obstacle can be, and so the turns have to stay under a certain height, which they did a really good job on making the turns like bowl real deep and around to carry your speed.
The gunite, they're made out of gunite.
Yeah,
They're concrete.
And they are that whole track. That's we spent when I was down there when I was whatever months ago. Man, we spent hours there.
But it's a fun short track.
It is.
It's not really that short, but it seems short.
Shout
I've worked on parts of it. I redid last straight, part of third straight, but they have lifted the height restriction.
Did they?
Yeah, so they're talking about maybe doing some stuff in the future to make it bigger. But, it's like Daytona. Daytona used to be that little small track, and it's still small, but they've redone the turns. They've redone the whole track, and it races a little faster now because the turns are bigger.
Yeah.
But it's Daytona's a short track, and we always knew going to it that it's a different style of racing. So, like NASCAR. You don't race the same at Daytona like you do Bristol.
Nope. Bristol, you're gonna rub.
Yeah, you're one
Shout out to
110 down the first straight or down the front stretch, and you're 45 in the turn.
That's right. Shout out to my NASCAR fans.
There you go.
Melissa, you want to do a quick check-in
No, I want to finish the question
on the
on the.
pro set?
No, I
Okay.
had asked him about his formula,
Oh.
and then we got
The formula.
off
X
that.
plus 0 equals 7.
Well, no, he said he was talking about discovering what the rider base was, and then you kind of asked him about the pro sets. I'm just kind of curious, as once you've kind of got that information, is there I want so many, everyone's got to have a roller, everyone's got so much.
Yeah.
Tabletops.
Thank you.
Step ups.
Whatever. Obstacles.
I guess it's not really a formula. It's mainly what will fit between point A and point B.
Okay.
Anytime, like when we build a new track, you always build the turns first, and then you get your measurement between the turns, and you see what's going to fit, that's going to flow the best.
That makes sense.
And that's the thing, when you go to a rebuild, the first thing you do is you find out what's going to fit in between them turns that's not going to throw your spacing off. Because nowadays, everybody, it's all about flow. They want flow. They don't want dead spots in the track. Some people don't understand it, but it's if you have any spot on the track other than first straight that's flat, it's what we call a dead spot. It's when you come off of a landing, you want that landing to go downhill as much as you can, almost all the way to the lip of the next jump. So you don't have that dead spot, because as soon as you hit flat ground on a bike, you start slowing down.
Right, I was just going to say, lose speed. All right.
And a lot of people say, well, that's pedal room. Well, yeah, it is pedal room if you want to pedal. Why pedal if you can keep your
You can
feet
pedal
up
on
without?
downhill too, can't you?
Yeah, I mean, you can pedal, but a lot of people, you can see a track when you put a good rider on a good flowing track, you'll see them gain speed without pedaling, because you have to know how to work the track, learn how to use the back sides of the jumps to create speed, learn how to use the rollers. When the rollers are built correctly, you can pump through a rhythm section and gain speed. Did you
I've
ride
seen that.
West Palm, Justin?
Nope, I didn't.
No, yeah. That last straight, Tom Ritz built it in 2006, and it's yet to be changed because it was way above its time when it was built, and it stood the test of time. It's still a very modern rhythm section because, like I said, he built it, and it was way bigger than any rhythm section we had ever seen before. And it took a few months for our riders to get used to it, but now, they go through it like crazy. But it's one of those rhythms where all you have to do is start pumping a little bit, and you will gain speed. By the time you're halfway through it, you're either better learn how to jump or learn how to manual. I did it a few times, and it's like you start catching break real quick.
Right.
But it's all about the flow. If it's built correctly, it's going to flow, and it rides so much easier when it's flowing and not choppy. If you get 3 rollers in a row and all 3 of them are built different, it's not going to work very well.
How do you ensure that doesn't happen? Because like I volunteer a lot of time helping building, and I always felt rollers are one of those things, man, especially on a track where you have the width that you need to match. Like, what is is there a key? Is there a secret? Like, how is it with literally not making a form, which I've been at that level?
Well, the thing with us, and like me and Tom, we build very similar as far as the way we use the machines, and it's all about feel in the machine. We can feel what you can feel on a bike in the machine. So when we're grading rollers and stuff, we can feel the machine moving in between. Like if we're in between 2 rollers, we know if there's a dead spot, if there's a bumpy spot, whatever, we can feel it in the machine. And so when you're back dragging and grading, you're seeing, and you physically or visually know what it's supposed to look like. When you look at that roller, you can look across the top of it and see that it's dead level going across. You can see the backside is true all the way across. It doesn't have a dip in the middle. It doesn't have a bump on the side. It's a lot of visual in the seat of your pants.
You match
you can feel a lot in those machines, more than you think you do.
I bet.
You match the front to the back?
Okay. Well, it's not. It depends. Sometimes the front might be a little bit mellower, and then the back might have a little more drop to it.
Okay.
When you go across it and you push down that back wheel, you want a little bit of a concave back there. But when you push down on that manual, it's going to push that bike forward. So,
I feel there is a ton of TOs right now taking notes.
Add notes.
It's very tough to build. Like, I've seen so many people build rollers by hand, and they never work out. It just never comes out. They're usually either too quick, because when you're building it by hand, and I've even tried it myself building by hand, and the roller never turns out the way it does with a machine. They always get too quick, because when you're on the ground looking at it with a rake or shovel, it looks like it's too mellow, but it's not. So
I've went as far as literally screwing 2 sheets of wood together and making a template and then just setting it down and trying.
Well, that's just like if you go to like a skate park or an indoor and you see the perfectly formed wooden rollers.
Yep.
Even those don't ride that good.
I can testify to that.
They're perfectly formed. And I've heard riders say they don't like it that way because you don't want the front side and the back side to be exactly the same. It's directional. Rollers are directional, but a lot of times we'll build a rhythm section going a certain direction, and it'll ride better backwards.
Okay.
I've seen a lot of people ride a track backwards. They go, man, that rhythm section actually rides better backwards.
Interesting.
Okay.
So, and I've literally went as far as built them the other way, built them backwards so they would ride better forward.
Huh.
It's weird. And a lot of that's seat time on the machine, knowing what works and what doesn't work.
Just a
Yeah, that's-
guesstimate, how many hours do you have in building tracks?
Well, I'll tell you, I've been running heavy equipment. I started building golf courses in 1992.
A lot.
So I've been running heavy equipment and doing finish work
Yeah.
on golf courses since 1992.
Probably spent it.
So 92, so you're almost pushing 30 years that I've been sitting on a piece of equipment.
You probably sat in the machine longer than some of the experts in the younger class has been alive.
Yeah,
that's
pretty much.
true.
I mean, a lot of, but basically full on building tracks. 2003 is when I started. Say 2004, because April of 2003 is the first day I showed up at the track. I played with it a little bit through that year. The next year is when it went full on, and we were working on tracks all over the state of Florida from 2003 on, or 2004. So I've had my hand in BMX track building full time. Well, not full time, but full on since 2004. So that's what, 18 years, 19 or 17, something like that.
Long enough.
Doesn't feel that long, but it is.
Goes by fast, hopefully, because you seem to
Yeah,
enjoy what
and-
you're doing.
But like I said earlier, it was kind of weird the way it started when I was little, helping Albany rebuild their track.
You wanna
That's High Springs there. Yeah.
do your check-in?
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, I know there's a lot of comments in there.
Yeah, I've rebuilt that High Springs track. I rebuilt 3 times.
Wow, I know
John,
track.
John Pringle does a nice job up there.
And he makes a wicked breakfast, by the way.
Yeah. Yeah, he's quite the homemaker.
Man, is it Blackstone? Is that the thing? Yeah. When we were in Sarasota, he hooked it up for me.
Ooh.
Yeah. Melissa, we're gonna Mitch, we got some comments. I'm gonna check in the chat. We don't have the isolated camera though.
That's okay.
All right.
Yeah.
We're gonna share.
Yeah, it's
Okay.
better that you don't. It's been a long day. All right. Well, thank you guys for checking in this evening. So glad that you are with us and in the chat commenting. I want to say hi to Scott Foster, Brian Fell, Rick Carter, Beer Budget BMX, T-Bone BMX, Mr. Brian Wilson's in the chat. Brian Alex is checking in with us. Mr. and Mrs. Cardoza are in with us. Mike Melvin, the other half of Beer Budget BMX, is also checking in. Let's see. Cardoza is over on YouTube. We appreciate you guys. Big Rig is also checking in on YouTube. Dave Dortona from good friends over at Bomb Squad BMX. Why can't I think of the name of their...
DB Sports.
Thank you.
Which shout out and thank you very much for the birthday present. Thank you guys.
Yeah, that was awesome. Billy with Gate 9 Plates is in the chat with us. Let's see. Carl Claypool says, what's happening, Mitch? Ancient City BMX is forever thankful. The track is coming along nicely. Thanks to you.
Yeah, it's excited to hear that track's going to be back up and running here pretty soon.
Yeah, that's awesome.
They've been doing a lot of hard work there. I mean, the weather's never good to them up there, but they're getting it under control.
Aw. The Style Man himself, Colin Styles, is checking in.
Sorry I didn't call you back.
That's probably my fault. Shane Wambles says, Mitch, the best in the business.
Yep,
Let's see.
Shane from Orlando.
Mr. Robert McDonald checking in. He says, amazing dude. Mitch has been so patient with me and future plans we have for Brunswick, Georgia, an hour north of Jacksonville BMX, which have required several consultations, and he has kept giving me the information I needed for our local officials. And yeah, you set that dude loose once, he shows up. Our good buddy Dennis Yabera, or otherwise known as Yogi, actually finally gets to listen to us on his way to work. We're glad you're tuning in, Yogi. He's got a question for you that I'm going to come back to. Let's see what else. Robert McDonald commented again and said, on a moment's notice, you came and helped Ryan Grab and I reshape the pump track at Tilly Fowler Regional Park.
Yeah, they got a cool little thing going on there.
Yeah.
Big mountain bike area. They put in a little natural surface pump track.
Well, that's awesome.
They work hard on that thing too. It's a never-ending work there for them.
Mr. Anthony Morris checking in on Facebook says, we'd love a pump track in Cape Coral. What's up, Nick Jones? Who's also in the chat and said everyone loves Cape Coral's Pro Set, but it makes a big difference if you can hit it. And then he also commented when you said you wanted to change it, he then said, yeah, I know you would, Mitch. Let's see. Oh, Orlando doesn't have a Pro Set?
Yep. Yeah, that's the other one, Orlando.
Must be St. Cloud BMX.
Yeah.
We're going to be there.
I just recently worked on their track. That was one track that I never worked on for the longest time because they were always pretty good at doing their own thing. And they never really called me up. And as much as I wanted to work on that track, because I used to race on it when I was a kid, and but they finally, I think it was last year sometime, they called me up and we did the second straight, changed the 290s to like a 120 in the back, and then did all the last straight.
That's cool.
Yeah, Dominguez actually helped me on that one. He helped me design the last straight.
Got that custom DL design, huh?
Oh yeah, it's something. It works good though. It's pretty fast.
Talk about decision maker.
Yeah.
Sean Giffords checking in. He says, "Happy weekend, guys." # Thong Nation. If you know, you know. I just realized what I forgot to do, but anyways,
Put the sticky note up.
Yep. And I had a good one too.
That's
well.
cool. We'll put Mitch
Save
on the
it-
main screen. You can run back and do it.
No, save it for Wednesday. Nick Jones says, I don't take notes. I just call Mitch.
He does. Yeah.
Mitch
Mitch only lives like 5 blocks or
Wow,
something
true.
from Cape Coral too. So
Michael Mag
Yeah,
is
I'm pretty close there now. I figured they'd take a little more advantage of me, but they've been pretty nice. So that was the deal with West Palm is I was the track director there for I think 5 years. I was the assistant for another 3 years. So when you're the track director and you're a track builder, you kind of your track gets a lot of work done to it.
Sure, I could see
So
that.
we didn't have to ask, we just did it. People they knew if they showed up on a Friday night to race, and there was some equipment sitting by the third straight, that something was going to happen Friday night when they left. This little build here you're looking at, that's a private training track in
Wait.
Cape Coral.
that guy right there.
Yeah.
Hang on.
The starting hill's not put in yet. He's putting a scaffolding starting hill in. But that's a full-on, what I call it like a 7/8 scale BMX track.
Okay.
You could hold races on it. The only difference is, other than a regular track, is the third straight wraps back into the second, because they wanted also something they could just keep riding on. But you could have, he's putting a 4-man gate on it, so you could do 4-man races on that track.
Is this the individual that is really good at concrete?
Yeah,
Okay.
That's a concrete guy.
If you know, you know.
Like to kind of scale that track, the turns there are like 8 feet high.
Wow.
So that'll give you some kind of scale.
Wow.
And it's all built out of base rock and then put slurry coat on top of it.
We could fit the garbage can in our backyard.
Yeah. There's definitely room for that.
That's about it.
Maybe 2.
Yeah.
He's got about 2.5 acres there.
Wow. Michael Mag's got a question for you.
Oh man.
He wants to know how Toledo's rhythm section is.
Toledo's $38,000 hospital bill.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh,
To this day, actually, it wasn't even that long ago. Cardoza and I and a bunch of us, after one of the Wednesday night shows, we were watching the video from when I crashed down there a year ago, and it just looks like a groundhog jumped up and just swiped my front tire out from the backside, and I face planted.
You got sniper.
I did. It looked like one of those meme videos where they, shoot the gun, and I went over the handlebars. My big ass can't do anything when I'm stuck over the handlebars, gutted, and I just face planted into the.
Ooh.
Billy says it was a whale of a good time.
Fuck you, Billy. Fuck you, Billy. Billy always teases me because I lost my knocked out cold, and when I come to, I couldn't catch my breath, and all I'm thinking is, I don't want to scare Melissa because it's the first crash she saw.
Too late.
And it was way too late because I can't catch my breath. And I'm over there wheezing like some asthmatic. And Billy did a fine job of never forgetting.
What you sound
The
like.
best,
That guy.
the best place when I used to work all the state races, I would always hang out towards the end of the rhythm section.
Yep.
And you wait, as much as you don't want to see nobody wreck, but you'd always look forward to the 35 and over class.
Yeah.
Cruiser and the cruisers, the 45-year-old cruiser class going through there, because you knew it was going to happen. Just like you, over the bars, face planting the next roller, sounding like a sack of potatoes when they hit the ground, and you just hear the air
Gone.
out of them.
That's right.
It was.
And you walk over there and you're like, give me a minute.
Yeah.
Give me a minute.
What I remember when I came to was hearing Mr. Luna on a CB radio from one of the other officials. It was like, you want to tell Tompkins this is nowhere he needs to be rolling around in the dirt spending his birthday? And I'm like, oh, man. It was a good time.
That's funny. So
That's why I didn't get back into racing when my kids started. I started riding for a few months, and of course, my brain's telling my body to do things that it's not capable of doing anymore. And I knew I was going to wind up hurt if I didn't stop. So I was like, you know what? I'll let my kids do the riding.
smart. Very smart.
I mean, at that point,
I missed it.
I did have the crown for double tire manual.
Yeah.
But that was the first time I ever crashed on a double tire manual. Let that set in for a minute. Both tires were on the ground and you still crashed.
Yeah, somehow. So Dennis was wondering what you would say has been the worst material you have had to work with to build a track besides sand, because I guess that's probably a given.
It's a good question.
The worst material. Well, one of the worst experiences we had was in the material looked good when we started building with it. It was in Baku, and it built nice. It looked like red brick clay, and it was fine until we started putting the soil tack on it, and then it pretty much just started cracking everywhere. It looked like a dry mud puddle when we put the soil tack on it.
Oh yeah.
We had to roll it down and spray it again and roll it down.
Wow. And
it wound up not holding together, but at the end, for the big race, they had some issues with it. But and then you just get into some tracks that are really rocky. That you take off the top 2-inch layer when you're rebuilding, and you find out that everything underneath it is boulders, big rocks and just bad material. Obviously, the best material to build out of is road-based material, and then cap it, because it's not going to go anywhere on you. It's not going to settle that much. Everybody doesn't have that luxury.
Yeah, sure.
But anything that has any kind of what we call down here, we call it marl, but it's like a clay content. You don't want too much clay, but you want enough to where it's going to compact and get hard. Too much clay, and when it gets wet, it's going to turn to crap. Mm-hmm. That's why like the Florida tracks there, everybody always talks about the clay in Florida, and it doesn't come from Florida; it comes from Georgia. And they bring it down here and they process it and they blend it. And it's an 80-20 clay sand mix. It's 80 sand, 20% clay. And it's processed so it's perfect. So when you lay it down, it grades out really nice. And when you roll it, it compacts and stays hard. Obviously, if it gets wet in its natural state, it's going to get soft again. But once you can seal it, it's like a rock.
We can retire down there.
Yeah, see? Told you. We can retire now.
Go ahead.
You can be a TO somewhere, and then I can get you off that bike.
Me and Nick
As
Jones.
you age.
I'll be Nick Jones' prodigy.
There you go. I like
I
that.
mean, we're pretty most same age, but you know.
Well, you come down and be his assistant for a little
That's
while.
right.
Yeah, exactly.
Eventually want
That's
him
how-
off the bike.
That's how the track director in West Palm now, TC, he started out when I became track director. He was my assistant, and we went that way for 5 years. And then when I finally decided I wasn't going to be the track director anymore, he's like, "Well," I told him, I said, "Why don't you be track director?" I said, "They're going to vote you in anyway because you're the only other one that knows what's going on around here." And he's like, "Well, the only way I'm going to be track director is if you're my assistant." So we just switched places.
That makes sense.
Now, how
But
important?
all I really wanted to do was work on the track.
Yeah.
I didn't want to deal with all the politics.
Oh,
Right.
fair.
So he took care of the politics. I took care of the track.
How important is it, like coming from your position, you know, as a track builder, which you've been to many, many tracks, which we'll get into, like how globally you've been all over the place too. But how important is it that tracks or, you know, volunteer organizations, clubs, have like a bench of, you know, call it a next generation of volunteers, or, you know, the next people to fill those positions? Because, you know, there's a lot of times where, you know, tracks run really great, right? We've all saw it. They've run really, really good for 3 years, 4 years. And then maybe it's one person or maybe it's the group that leaves. Like, in your perspective, how important is it to, you know, form that bench of people that are willing to come in and follow the same, you know, mission statement or, you know, passion?
It's very important. I mean, we've been fortunate enough over there to have a large enough rider base and parent base that we have a lot of people to choose from. The problem that a lot of tracks run into is they have a very handful of people, and that's their go-to people every time, and they get burnt out. You know, they don't have anybody else to call. They're always calling, you know, Jim. Hey, Jim, can we have you out here this weekend? Hey, Jim, can we have you out here next weekend? Well, you know, one weekend Jim wants to be at home, you know, so it's tough. You don't want to burn them out, but it's hard to find new people. As far as grooming new people, I feel that some tracks tend to kind of force people to volunteer. It's kind of like, you know, hey, we need you to volunteer. You know, you need to come out here and help us. Well, unfortunately, and you know, as bad as it is, some people get into BMX not to volunteer, but to watch their kids race. And they don't want to feel like they have to come out there and participate in order to have a good time, to watch their kids race. Some people just want to go there, watch their kids race, and go home. And they don't want to deal with working on the track on a Saturday. You know, it's unfortunate that it happens, but, you know, and not everybody's hands-on. You know, it takes a certain breed to come out there and run a shovel and a rake or whatever you're doing, painting. It takes a special breed to do that. Not everybody's geared to that. So you kind of want to look at your parent base and find out what a lot of people do for a living. If you got a guy that paints for a living on your staff there, you know, you approach him and say, hey, you know, we know you do painting and stuff, and, you know, we really want to do some painting around the place. You know, do you think you can help us out? You know, even if he tells you, you know, well, I can't do it for free, but I can give you a really, really good price, and I can come in here and paint the whole place for you. You know, you kind of, we used to do that at West Palm all the time. We'd always find out what people did for a living. and that's how they got me. They asked me point blank the third day I was there. The assistant track director asked me, we were just talking, he goes, what do you do for a living? I go, run heavy equipment. And that's all it took. He lit up like a Christmas tree. He goes, you run heavy equipment. But, and that's the way you find who your electricians are. You find out who your plumbers are. And you don't want to like use them and abuse them, but you want to make them feel wanted to be like I said, some people don't want to do it, and then you get the people that have an agenda. I'll go work on the track, but every time I come out, little Johnny's going to be riding his bicycle, which is fine if you're not working on the track. But you get people that they have their own agenda, and it's not at the track's best interest. It's for their best interest, whatever they can get extra time at the track for their kids, which isn't always bad. It always depends on the organization.
Sure.
Some of the smaller tracks, it's just like one big family, and everybody just kind of goes out there and rides when they want to ride anyway. But when you take a place like a lot of the tracks here in Florida where the rider base is so big, and where you're getting your board members on the track are literally just going out to the track so their kid can ride in the middle of the week when normally the track would be closed. But then when some other parent sees that kid's out there riding on a Wednesday afternoon, they're like, well, why can't we go out there? So it's a kind of a double-edged sword, and it's the way we've always handled it at our track. Was in the beginning, they used to always try to get volunteers. They're like, well, maybe we should tell people that they need to volunteer a certain amount. I'm like, you can't do that. Yeah. You can't force people to volunteer. That's not what they come here for.
Yeah, agreed.
It's tough, but yeah, you do need to find those people, and you got to seek them out by finding out what they do for a living, what they're good at. Some people's good at running a shovel, some people ain't. Some people can't hit the ground with a shovel. And that's not the guy you want out there grooming the lips. But he might be really good at doing something else. And if he's really good at doing something else, he's probably going to enjoy doing that more than out there trying to rake and shovel on something he don't want to do. So a lot of it, sometimes some of the older kids that are trail builders or something, they're good at it. As long as they don't build too many of the jumps that ride like dirt jumps. But your volunteer base, you definitely want to keep it fresh, and take care of them, Yeah,
that's a good point.
Don't be afraid to have, if your budget allows you, don't be afraid to have a volunteer appreciation party.
That's a good suggestion.
I like
it goes a long way. We do it. We used to do it at least once a year. It would be basically an invite, volunteers only.
Sure.
You could bring other family members if you wanted, but it would be volunteers only, and everybody that had helped out throughout the year on the track, during races, stuff like that, you'd bring everybody together.
I like that.
And all the kids, they would ride the track. The parents would sit around and bullshit and have some beers and eat some food, and it just let them know that, hey, the track is thinking about us.
Yeah. That could definitely go
and you can way. You can go as far as doing practice cards if you volunteer, stuff like that to kind of make people want to volunteer. They're like, oh, if I volunteer 6 times, my kid gets a free practice or a free race. We did that. It's been hit and miss on that. But our biggest thing is we have the amount of people.
Yeah.
We have a lot of people to call. Some tracks don't have that.
Yeah, that's true.
It's every time something happens, it's the same 4 or 5 guys at the track.
What is it that you feel when you say we? You're referring to Cape. What is it that you feel?
Well, when I say we, I refer to West Palm.
Yeah,
oh, sorry. What is it that you feel at West Palm? Well, Cape does too, man. They got a ton of volunteers there. Yeah. I'm always impressed, like even on a local night.
But there again, Nick takes care of them.
And that was I was going to ask. Yeah. What is it that you feel, West Palm does, Cape does very well that keeps bringing in the new volunteers.
As far as like new ridership and stuff like that, because that's where you get it. I mean,
Yeah. But I mean, so you got your new riders, you can do clinics, you can do, beginner leagues, but what is it? I mean, the volunteer parts, what is it that you feel in your perspective as a track builder and going to all those places that is the thing that you see that is successful that other tracks could copy and implement?
Well, we do promote the volunteer, like whoever's announcing, they will announce, because a lot of people don't know when you show up at the track, you don't know if you've never done BMX, you don't know that it's a big volunteer organization. You don't know that you're allowed to get involved until you're told, or, so they'll announce that, hey, for you new parents, if you want to be involved in this organization, here's how to get involved. There's stuff here for everybody to do. We're a full volunteer organization. So volunteering is important, not required.
Sure.
But if you want to be involved, if you want to be more involved in your kids' racing and be a part of the organization and be more hands-on, then by all means, come talk to so-and-so at registration. They'll explain everything to you and how it works. And then, we always have our go-to people for the longest time because we have so many long-term parents and riders at our track that have been there for 10 plus years. So you always have a pretty deep pool to pull from. But we do limit when we do work stuff at the track, like on the track, maybe 4 or 5 people is the most people we'll have out there.
You don't want too many cooks in the kitchen.
Exactly. Because generally, if there's any changes done to the track, I'm going to be there doing them. And pretty much they're just standing there watching me.
Yeah.
TC will have them doing other stuff because a lot of times we'll take fencing down and stuff like that to get it out of the way. So there's always something for them to do. But still, again, you don't want too many people because I feel like tracks make that mistake also is they'll have a huge work party and it won't get nothing done.
Yeah.
Because you'll have 30 people out there and nobody knows what's going on.
Not enough chiefs.
Well, I've said,
yeah, it's better to have 5 or 6 guys and you basically plan it 2 to 3 weeks out and say, this is what we want to get done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I could see that. Planning would be key.
And we used to do that. I'd do it at West Palm all the time. I would get in my head what I wanted to get done, and that's what we'd focus on that week. That weekend, we'd focus on this. The next weekend or whatever, we'd focus on the next thing.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Don't do too many things at one time.
So just recap, you said announcements, which make like that's such a simple thing I feel could be missed by a lot. Like, hey, while you're making your concession announcement, when registration's going to close, your upcoming events, like including the fact like, hey, if you would like to help directing these people where to go and how to be involved, and then it's the 5 P's, right? Proper planning prevents piss poor
Performance.
Yeah. So you got that, right? You plan your work day so you don't just show up and
Right. Well,
and
agendas are always helpful.
I took it on here just about 2 months ago where I was like, man, I got to figure out. Melissa and I found out next door to us, literally next door, could hit a golf ball. There's a massive mountain bike loop, trail system, skill park. And her and I went over there and rode the thing. We didn't even know. Then I find out they're building all this stuff. But I'm like, man, that mountain bike groups get stuff done. And I decided to try to immerse myself in that to find out how they do it. And I've been helping down in Ann Arbor with some, bike parks and so on, which the guy is from mountain bike groups. And that's exactly the key. Like, you have to plan out those work days to get the maximum amount of work out of them. And everybody knows their assignment, which gives them, that sense that like, I am helping and I'm valued. So like those things right there, I think, anyone could take away and implement into their tracks right now. Look, we can schedule track days. We all do it. We go to Facebook, make an event. Here's your track work B day, but here's the next layer, according to Mitch, that will make it successful for your track, you know? Like,
Yeah, I mean, I come, like I said, my background, other than running equipment, is also supervisor. I mean, I ran, when I was doing golf course construction, I'd have 30 to 40 guys underneath me.
mhm,
And if you don't plan out your week when you're building or rebuilding a golf course,
mhm,
you're not going to go very far, because you got 40 guys and every one of them, you know, you wind up with about 5 or 6 different crews of guys, and you got to get every one of those guys set up, going, doing what they're supposed to be doing. Because it runs like an assembly line. You know, on a golf course, you're building each hole as it goes, and you're working your way out. You know, so you got to have everything running like an assembly line, to where the crews aren't running over each other. And it's very similar with a BMX track. You know, you're going to start point A and you're going to finish point B.
yeah,
And it's easier when you know, whether it's me building it or whether it's somebody else building the track, it's easier when they have a builder involved. If they're doing track changes, if the work that's getting done is a track change, it's better when they obviously have a builder there, because then the few volunteers that you might have can focus on other stuff. The builder's going to do his job.
mhm.
He doesn't need a guy out there trying to shape a lip with a shovel if he is going to do it with a machine. You know, the guy with the shovels now, he's either going to be cleaning up some slopes or garbage or whatever, letting the guy on the machine do his job. You know, the big thing I see on some tracks, that, you know, that either they don't have access to the equipment, or they do, and they have somebody that can halfway run it, and they wind up having to do so much handwork on the track,
Mhm.
because the guy running the machine can't get the lip perfect with the machine. He can't smooth back grade it to where you're not having to spend 2 days raking a straightaway.
And that was one of the things when Chris was on the show. He really praised the fact that, hey, when Mitch was here, he put the blade down on the machine, and we picked our bikes up. We didn't pick rigs up. And
Yeah, he was. When I started, he had left. He was at work, and he come back that evening, and he's like, "That thing's ready to ride."
Yep.
Yeah, pretty much. Just put a roller on it.
Yeah.
All you need. I mean, and a lot of that goes back to what Melissa was saying about material. You know, when you have good building material, yeah, you can lay a track down so smooth that you don't touch it with nothing but a roller. You know, sometimes you get tracks that the machine or the equipment or the material a little rocky, so you're having to rake some rocks off here and there, but
Yeah.
still, you can do so much with a machine when you have the right builder on it.
Now, this is a question that's popped up a lot, and you're the perfect person to ask this. So you'll come into a facility, and you're going to have a group of volunteers. So they're giving up their time to improve their local facility. How do you overcome that part of telling a volunteer how to do something or how to spend their free time? So I've heard a lot of TOs, presidents, you know, so on and so forth in those organizations, like say, I struggle because, and it's a supervisor thing, right? Like you've been a supervisor. However, that's still a tough thing to overcome. And like even I myself in those roles, like I'm like, I mean, I've ran and been supervisor managers and stuff before, but telling somebody that's volunteering their free time, how is it that you approach that and you would tell somebody like, hey, you got to do it this way and not offend them, you know, because look, we do live in that generation.
It's tough. And it goes back to kind of what I was saying before. If you have an electrician on your staff and he's coming to you as the track operator, and he sees a bunch of shoddy wiring, you know, in the concession or in the lights, it just doesn't, and he comes to you and go, man, we really need to do something about this wiring. Well, now in the back of your head, you've got it in your head that, okay, we need to do something about the wiring. So the next work party that you have, you're going to call that guy and say, listen, you're right. We do need to do something about it. Do you think, you being an electrician, since you brought it to our attention, do you think you can come out and help us?
All right. You play to their
He says, yeah,
strengths.
by all means. So now you've got that guy focused on what he's good at.
Mm-hmm.
He's going to go take care of the wiring. He knows more about it than you do. Let him do it. All you got to do is give him the materials, what he needs. He's going to go do it. Same with the fence guy.
Mm-hmm.
The fence guy's looking at the fence, you know, hey, I want to replace the fence. Hey, have at it, buddy. Next work party, we're going to tear it down, do it up. So you try to find the people, like I said, that are good at their craft, and you don't have to babysit them. You know, you're going to get just the basic people, and those are the guys that you're going to be like, hey, I'm going to be working on this straight away. I can't get over here on the side of this jump with the machine, so it's going to be a little rough. So just take the rakes and rake the sides of these jumps all smooth, and most of them are more than happy to do it.
I like.
Because they want to be involved in it.
Gotcha.
Especially when it usually takes about a half a day, about that first evening after they've showed up at, like, depending on what day it is, most of them usually don't show up till afternoon.
Mm-hmm.
And because some of them work or whatever. And when they show up and they see,
Terrible thing they have real jobs.
yeah, when they see what you're actually doing, what you can do with that machine,
Yeah.
they get excited. Now they want to be a part of it. You know, I've had guys literally question me for hours about what I thought I was going to do.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's like they don't have faith in you at first. Because either they used to be the one that kind of worked on the track, and now the track operator is kind of shunning them.
Okay.
Calling in a track builder, and that guy's all like butt hurt now because, oh, well, what are you going to do?
That's a great point.
Yeah, and then you get on the machine and you spend about 2 or 3 hours on it, and he's coming up going, man, he wasn't lying. You're the man. You know, I see why he brought you in now. And by the end of the weekend, you know, he's telling you, you know, hey, you can come to the track anytime you want.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's tough. Yeah, I've hurt a few people's feelings by telling them what to do, what I thought they should do.
Mm-hmm.
You know, hey, go over here and pick up all this stuff. Yeah, Brian over here, he's shaking his head. Yep. He knows. He's been out there when I've worked on the track.
To definitely find their strengths, play to their strengths, and if it's not identifiable, put them in like something that's easy to do.
You don't need 20 people out there on a work party.
Yeah.
You know, unless you're doing something major, you don't need it. You know, we used to have that in the very beginning. I'd have so many people show up, and then you'd just sit there. I'd be working, and everybody'd be standing there watching me. You know, it's
now.
So it got to where we would pick our strongest guys, and if they were willing, we'd always give them a couple of weeks' notice. Hey guys, a couple of weeks. This is what we're going to do. We're going to blow this place apart. So we're going to have a good full weekend. Rest up, because we're going to be busting our butt.
Now, here's one for you. When as we spoke, like, here's some challenges. How do you assign things to volunteers, material, building a track, making that successful, the hardware you use. What do you find as like a unique difference between building stateside and internationally? Which do you find easier, and what do you find kind of challenging? And for those that are joining us, thank you first. But Mitch is the international builder extraordinaire. How many continents have you built tracks on?
Continents. Let's see.
Just because I'm not that smart, I know there's only 7.
I'd rather go by countries.
All right.
Continents.
Let's go countries.
Countries. We'll name them off. We'll start out Canada.
Okay. Ohio doesn't count, by the way. even though it feels like a different country, Ohio
I
doesn't
was going
count.
to say it's not a different country.
No, it's not.
So Canada, Azerbaijan, which if nobody knows where that's at, obviously most people do now after the Worlds in 2018, but that's over by Iraq. So Switzerland, Brazil, Argentina, Colombia, of course, Malaysia, Indonesia, Philippines,
United States.
and the United States. I think that's got me covered pretty much.
No England, no France.
No England, no France.
No, I didn't get up into the European stuff. There wasn't, when I was working with Tom, when I did most of that traveling, the European market just wasn't, they weren't doing a lot of building.
They obviously have changed that. Speaking of Great Britain.
Yeah, it might change now. It might change. It's hard to say, but yeah, but like in South America, yeah, we built so many tracks down there, quite a few, several in Colombia, obviously the Rio Games, Argentina. That was a rebuild of a track Tom had originally built. The Philippines, Malaysia, and Indonesia was pretty cool because the BMX program there is not real strong.
Mm-hmm.
So when you're there building, everybody's excited. The few riders that they have are really excited, and the federations are excited because it's all new to them.
Oh, I bet.
So they treated us really nice.
Can you explain when you say federation? Just
That's the cycling federation. Like
Okay.
here we have USA Cycling.
Yeah.
That's the federation over USA BMX.
Okay.
So like there, you have in Colombia, you got the cycling federation there. Every country has its own cycling federation, and and the UCI is pretty much,
Over them all.
they're the main deal. They're the ones that deal with all that stuff. And they're the ones you deal with when you're building a big track for the country. You deal with the cycling federation, and they pretty much tell you what they want, what they need, and so you're building a program.
Now,
All
earlier
the cycling disciplines fall under that federation.
you said you really enjoy kind of building the tracks for locals.
Mm-hmm.
If you had to choose, gun to your head, loaded revolver, no misfire.
He already knows what you're going to ask.
Nick Jones is on the other end of that pistol, so he's not going to miss. And you have to choose between building local tracks for the rest of your time on this rock, or you're going to build Olympic tracks. Which one are you taking?
Ooh, that's a tough gig. I mean, the Olympic track, I've only done one. It had its good and bad.
Feel free to expound on that.
Well, just dealing with the contractors, materials, trying to get materials in a timely fashion, equipment. That goes kind of back to what you were saying before, the difference, between local and international. Building out of the States, equipment's always an issue. Sometimes you can get good equipment, sometimes you don't. It's tough. It's tough to get the equipment that we operate in every country. So you have to deal with what they have, and sometimes it's pretty brutal. Same with material. All over the world there's different materials. You don't always have primo material in every country, and you have to make do with it. So you learn real quick how to use different materials at the best to the best of your ability. What would I rather do? So you're saying like if the Olympics are going to go on for the next 50 years.
Yeah, we have to throw that in there.
Because
we can do this as a cliffhanger, and I can jump to the commercial break real fast, and then we can come back if you want.
Go ahead. I'll give you
Okay.
time to think.
Well, here's the thing. We're going to go to the Mighty Mo's commercial, which I'm going to do the read. And typically Melissa does, but I'm going to throw it out there. So hopefully Moses isn't listening. And when we come back, we're going to find out the answer to this cliffhanger of a question. Is it going to be locals tracks, or are we going to do the banger Olympic tracks? So you guys don't go anywhere. We'll be right back after I do this read for the Mighty Mo's cruise. We'll be right back. All right, ladies and gentlemen, it is time for you guys to know about the Mighty Mo's BMX cruise, brought to you in collaboration with T-Bone BMX. We're going to set sail on the Royal Caribbean's Mariner of the Seas. It's a 5-night cruise, September 19th through the 24th next year. You have to wait. We're going to be leaving out of Port Canaveral, which is by Orlando, and it's a pretty good track down there if you haven't heard. Several stops along the way. Make sure you guys check that out. We are going to have Gate 9 number plate sponsoring the Stomp and Stew event. We're going to be honoring Howard Cato with the Humanitarian Award. ATV will be sponsoring the dodgeball tournament, so don't take any wrenches or balls to the face. Make sure you sign up because the competition is going to be hot and sweaty. If you guys need more information, make sure you contact Anita. All the details are on the screen right now. And sign up. Spaces are going fast.
Guess what? You get to take over.
Nope. I already promised Mo we were going to do a record on that bad boy.
I think you might be doing the voice over there, babe.
Nope. Mitch, are you gonna jump on that cruise, man?
If I had the time, I'd love to go.
We'll make sure you have it.
I just ain't got the time off from work. It's hard enough for me to get home, much less go on a cruise.
Is Brian going?
Kidding.
He ain't going.
Why? He works for
He
an
ain't
airline
going.
company. He can get time off of work.
Yeah, he's done. He had COVID the same time I did.
Well, you guys kind of live together sometimes.
Yeah, and Southwest hasn't cleared him to go back to work yet.
Oh no.
Are you still getting paid, Brian?
Yes.
Yeah, you have COVID from now until September 27th of 2022.
He's been couch surfing for the past 2 weeks.
Oh,
Bro, I'm going to come down there and hang out with you then.
that's too bad.
All right, so
Sad.
it's time for the cliffhanger answer. You going to build local tracks?
I got a question first.
We have a variable then.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's
So when you
clarification.
say local tracks, okay, I understand that part of it. Or so I have a choice. I could only build local tracks.
Which would be, the ones without a supercross hill at them.
Yeah, basic, what I call basic local track, maybe with a pro set, or build just only Olympic tracks.
Let's toss in the World Cup tracks too. We'll throw those in there.
So basically, build only Supercross tracks or only local tracks.
Yeah.
Woo.
I have a tie-in question when he's done answering this one too.
We have another variable?
Oh,
No.
man. See, I
This
don't
question has
It's a
more
spin-off.
variables than COVID.
It's a spin-off.
Oh, okay.
wanna-
Get ready. The next
And it's
variable's
not dependent on his answer either.
coming. Okay.
What's the variable?
No variable. It's a spin-off question just off that subject.
After I answer it
After
or
you
before?
answer. Nope, after.
After I answer. Okay.
It's not dependent on your answer.
So, this is a tough question because I don't want to shoot myself in the foot for future business or anything.
Well, it's a proverbial gun.
So
I don't even know if Nick carries one anymore.
Oh, I'm sure he
I
does.
think from a business standpoint,
Ooh, good angle.
you're better off the local.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
There's more tracks.
sure.
For the what I call the rock star status angle, the Supercross tracks.
Okay.
Me personally, I'd probably lend to the local scene.
Well, I have a caveat question after you're done, Melissa.
Well,
As much as I like the Supercross stuff, they're cool, but
I'm asking him this one. So.
at the end of the day, the local.
All right. Now, with the rock star status, as you were describing, you've built them. You were telling me earlier today, like, you've done builds where like people show up and watch you build the track, and they've asked for your autograph. I need to know this question because I have a few of these items in the background I could mail. You ever had thongs thrown at you?
No, I haven't had thongs.
I got a couple. I'm going to mail you.
That's all right.
Billy from Gate 9 wore one pair.
Therefore, you don't want it.
Yeah, you don't really. I'll mail them to Brian.
No, thank you.
All right. So my caveat question, since we were talking about local tracks, and Robert Cardozo was asking in the chat if, Mitch, you think what your thoughts are on the Big Hill. Do you think we're going to go back to the no Supercross, or is the Big Hill here to stay? Got any feelings one way or the other?
Man, here comes clips versus flats.
Yeah.
We're not holding you to it, but
the Big Hill to me, I mean, I personally like it. To me, it lends a little bit more of the extreme factor when it comes to the pros, what I call the elite pros racing.
sure.
A lot of people will tell you, the speeds are too fast. Obviously, after what happened with Connor, with the speed and him wrecking, it happens. It happens on big tracks. It happens on little tracks.
Yeah, I that's hard. That's hard to.
I
really blame it on.
personally don't have a problem with the Big Hill, as long as the track is built for it. The track has to be. If the track is built properly, the riders won't have an issue. I mean, obviously, somebody is going to wreck at some point.
Sure.
Whether it's rider error, whether it's two riders getting together, it's going to happen. It's racing. It happens on the little tracks. It happens on the big tracks. I mean, if you look at the case of, Sam Willoughby, he was practicing on a little track, looped out, and unfortunately, he got hurt. But had that happen on a big track, you would have heard all about it.
Mm-hmm.
So,
do you feel this Olympic track lended itself to good flow, bad flow, too long, too short, too big?
It was a mixture of a few things. It had a little bit of a European feel to it. Obviously, a European company built the track. The jumps were lippy, which is fine as long as they're still built correctly. But not as many riders are used to lippy jumps as they used to be. The Colombian riders, they adjust to them pretty quick because most of their tracks are fairly lippy.
Is that because you build them?
I figured they would do fairly well there. As far as the flow of the track, I don't think it had that good a flow.
Okay. Which kind of was what was echoed in the broadcasts. And
yeah.
Okay.
And I seen a headline. It was a little kind of a meme or a headline. I think it was, and it had Nick Kimmon in it after he won gold. And basically the caption read, "Build different results." So he was lending to all the same guys are winning on the same style of track. Build it different and you'll get a different winner. Obviously, he's a Dutch rider. He's used to the lippier style jumps. Yeah. Granted, Papendal, which is his home track, has pretty good flow to it. I feel like this track just had a lot of dead spots in it.
Okay.
But it still lended to some pretty crazy racing.
If there was one thing that Mitch Horne could change on the Olympic track, what would you have changed?
Probably second jump, first straight.
Second jump. Oh, that's the one they were overshooting, right?
Yeah.
Or the men. Yeah. Well, both.
That was a game changer going down first straight.
Yeah.
Okay. And what would you change on it?
The thing I would have changed was the dead spot on Second Street, going into turn 2.
Right before that step
Yeah.
up, long step down thing?
Flat
Okay.
spot there.
Okay.
You know, which is fine. I mean, like I said, it's a different style of racing. I can guarantee you, Nick Kimmon likes the track.
I doubt he's gonna say anything bad about that track.
Nope. He's just
Yeah.
going to cash his
It
checks.
was perfect.
Exactly. Yeah, everybody loves the track they win on.
That's
You know,
right.
whether they actually like it or not, but they love it.
I'm a big fan of 300-foot tracks.
And yeah,
Sprints.
and I feel like the riders, you know, a lot of them don't speak publicly, and it's probably in their best interest about tracks.
Oh, that's yep.
You know, they have their backroom conversations, but as far as when they're either being interviewed or they know they're around people that don't need to hear it, they're not going to tell you exactly what they feel about the track.
Sure.
You think it was a good gamble to mix it up? Because in years past, you know, the Olympic tracks were all, you know, down, for the most part, downhill. This one was a little more flat. You think it was like a good gamble for a temperature check kind of on to see where we're headed with the sport?
Well, I mean, me personally as a builder, you know, like working with Tom had built the first 3, and I came on for Rio. And when they announced that Tokyo was going to be the 2020 games, I got excited because I was thinking, I automatically figured we were going to build the track.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, it just, unfortunately it worked out. It didn't work out that way. And after the issues we had at Rio with the contractors and all that, it was kind of you know, it's like, we ain't worried about it. You know, we don't want to deal with the Olympics again right now.
You can say what it was. It was a
Blessing.
clusterfuck. Tom was on before and explained it.
Yeah, we got screwed over at the end, and they tried to screw us over every chance they got there.
Yeah.
You know,
Which is not.
it shouldn't take 8 trips to Rio to build a BMX track.
Yeah. Which none of the Rio games was a secret that it was a hot mess down there.
Yeah, it was and it wasn't just a BMX venue.
No. Nope.
It was so many venues were getting screwed. I don't know, during the games down there, I do believe it made the news when all the swimming pools turned green.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was the contractor that built the venues. They're the one that turned it green.
It might have been
Because-
covered up a little bit by an Olympic swimmer that beat the shit out of a bathroom that was supposed to go there and win.
Yeah.
I don't know. Lockheed? I don't know. You ever heard of that guy? No? Ryan Lockheed, he was supposed to,
Yeah, no, I know
Michael
who that
Phelps,
is.
prodigy.
Yeah.
He got hammered drunk and beat the shit out of a bathroom.
Yeah.
Oh, great story there.
Yeah.
I think they might have used that to
Yeah,
cover
so
up that all the
there was so
pools
many
turned
stories.
green.
Like that contractor, he embezzled so much money out of because he was in charge
Bad.
of the BMX track, the kayaking facility, the mountain biking facility, and a couple other things. So it was a huge project for them. But it was estimated they embezzled roughly about $12 million off of that project.
Jesus. Wow.
You know?
I know that I remember reading an article on the housing where they relocated people
Oh,
so
yeah.
they could build the temporary Olympic housing, and those people didn't get their permanent housing and all this stuff. It was a really, really sad state, and we've all saw the videos and pictures of the actual facility itself.
Yeah.
Just the track. Not to mention the other facilities there. It's a really sad state. Now, out of the ones that we've all kind of either been involved directly or have saw happen, which Olympics do you feel has done the best job of repurposing? Obviously, Rio's out of the running, but repurposing their facility. Because that's a big thing, right? Like you build these amazing places.
Beijing is non-existent.
Yeah.
London, I'm not sure if it's actually up and running. I don't think it is.
They made it a local track.
Right? Yeah. I don't know if it's still up and going. I mean, Rio, you could probably go to Rio today and spend a couple of weeks and have that track back in good shape. The problem is, it's just the neighborhood that it's in. doesn't lend to like a good local program. Nobody wants to go there because it's not the safest place in the world. I mean, there was a few riders, a couple years ago, that went there from Europe that went over and did some riding.
I remember seeing that.
You know,
Because
like the track looks rough, but I'm sure with a good slurry coat and some new carpet, and it'd be looking brand new again. I mean, everything else has held up pretty good from what I've seen, the latest pictures I've seen. It's just a matter of redoing the surface on it.
Now, to transition away from the racetracks, because you do an awesome job building, pump tracks and strider tracks. I want to make sure we were able to touch on that.
Absolutely.
Pump tracks and strider tracks.
Is that the new love?
Well, it's the new.
I mean, I'm sure it's the new popular thing. Yeah.
Yeah, it's the new thing because, for one, you don't have to have as big a space. It's anything can ride it. You can bicycles, scooters, rollerblades, skateboards. So it's a multi-use facility, and you can put one in a pretty small area.
Yeah.
100 foot by 200. You got a nice area right there to put a pump track. A lot of the cities, the municipalities are putting them in the playground areas because it's an easy way. I mean, nowadays with the COVID, so many people's on bicycles.
Mm-hmm.
It's almost being demanded. A lot of the cycling, the private cycling clubs are getting with the cities and stuff and saying, hey, this is what we want.
Mm-hmm.
So
it's the new thing.
Now
we've done a bunch of them.
On an average, if a track was to call up and say, hey, I want to put in a solid 7 pump track out of 10, what does it look like cost-wise and logistically to implement, a good, decent, we're not talking some crazy, World Cup pump track, but just a good, fun pump track that would,
Well, there's a lot of factors that go in. When you're giving somebody a price, obviously, if that track has access to material and they don't have to purchase it,
okay,
that's your biggest expense is going to be your material.
What would that run normally on an average?
Good building material?
Yeah.
Roughly about 350 a load, truckload, 18 cubic yards. And to build a decent pump track, you're probably talking anywhere from 40 to 60 loads.
Okay.
Depending on how big. I mean, obviously, if you just want a little
I got to carry a lot of zeros on this one.
Yeah.
All right, so that's 21 grand.
Mm-hmm.
And then the labor.
On average, to build a basic, what I call a basic pump track, you could be in the neighborhood of 30 to 40 grand.
Okay. That's labor, material, and everything?
Yeah, like I said, there's some variables in there. Yeah. It depends on what the builder wants to charge for their labor. You can go as high as, $150,000, $200,000. A lot of it depends on, your drainage setup, if you want full underground drainage or if you just want surface drainage.
Mm-hmm.
But for like a BMX track to put one, most of them, they don't have a lot of room. So I'd say generally they could probably get away with somewhere in the neighborhood of, 25, depending, and don't really quote me on these prices because everything changes accordingly. Mm-hmm. But just for, we've done some pretty cheap ones, but it's because the customer had the material, they had a machine, so they didn't have to spend big ticket items. They spent money on labor and asphalt.
Okay.
That's it. Your asphalt's going to run you, it depends on gas prices, but about $80 to $90 a ton.
That's not going to be the trivia question. If people are watching me take notes, by the way. And by the way, before we end the show, I want to give you credit here. So I had called Mitch to help out one of the tracks here in Michigan, and the track was inquiring on some redoing the turns. And Mitch, you were so patient and you were awesome lending your expertise where, I was taking pictures and sending them to Mitch on the current, the setup that was there. And it's no secret. Like the track had been neglected for a while under the previous track operator regime there. And the new group has done amazing things. And shout out Capital City Family BMX. You guys are doing big things. And, I was able to contact Mitch and just literally send him some pictures. And he's like, hey, send me a close up of this and this. And he broke it down in a level that if I had to call the asphalt plant, I made sense talking to him. And that's where, I keep putting in the chat, Mitch, your contact information. Like, don't hesitate to contact him. Like he's awesome. He's amazing. He's patient. He helps, as a lot of people in the chat have said already. And, your heart's right in the right place. And there's tons of compliments in the chat. So,
Thank you.
well, we appreciate it. I appreciate it because, it just goes to helping the sport, get better.
Absolutely.
Even though he doesn't believe in building building pro sets at local tracks.
I didn't say I don't believe him.
I didn't say that per se.
I built pretty much every one of them in Florida, so
He's not against it.
it's just got to be the right location,
Right.
the right application. I mean, it's
Oh, that is so cool with that pump track right in the middle.
So
there.
here's one I wanted to. I was trying to find here. So this is when.
that's Miami South.
Yep. That
Fit in there really nice because they had that open space. They had that little space that wasn't being used, and we made it useful for the striders.
And that's a common track layout. That's kind of what they refer to as a paperclip.
U and a U.
Yeah, and there's a lot of tracks around. You could. I love how you built that pump track right around the light pole. Or is that power? Yeah, that's a light pole. Just awesome there. So,
Yeah, that was one of the first. I did the one in West Palm first, and I did this one second. That's when all the tracks in Florida started talking, oh, we want a strider track. Because they were listed more as a strider track than a pump track. And because this one's, bigger kids can ride it, but it's not designed like the more modern pump tracks to hold a lot of speed. This one's built more just for the little guys to go out there and ride, even though the big guys, just like the one in West Palm's not really designed for big guys. It was specifically designed, which is a lot of tracks, they want a strider track. They don't want a pump track. Cape Coral, they want a pump track.
they're gonna get one.
They've already got a strider section.
Very cool. Very, very cool.
All right. We want to transition to some of our news, which, Mitch, we want you to chime in on here in the next few segments. So we have some awesome events coming up. One of them you already know about from our friend here in the Midwest. And we're going to slide into that. And that's going to be our Newsmaker segment. So our good friend, Brian Wick, which, Mitch, you helped them up there.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's going to be a good time. And, they were on Wednesday. If you guys didn't get to catch that, go back, fast forward if you need to, and catch the part where Brian and his girlfriend jumped on and talked about this awesome event that's going on tomorrow.
Yeah, it really sounds like a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Good thing he's doing. That's a good thing he's doing up there. I mean, he used to do it in his backyard.
Yep.
And he moved out of that house, so he contacted us about helping him build where the new setup is. That's when I was working with Tom and Jason, and we went in and did a bunch of work for him, and then we did the pump track a little bit later. And he's poured his heart and soul into that place, and it's been pretty crazy, but he's doing good. I mean, he should have a good turnout this weekend. So
Yeah.
anybody that's in that area should go check it out. It's definitely in the mountain. I mean, the whole mountain bike area that's around. It's an old golf course they turned into a mountain bike park.
Yeah, what a great idea.
Which was
Medina,
weird for me
Ohio.
because I used to build golf courses, and now I'm turning a bike park into a golf
Right.
course into a
That's
bike
right.
park.
Yeah.
You couldn't be more of an expert at that point in time.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's just going to be a good time. And
Is that cement? Or just
Yeah, they've been coating it little by little with cement to get it where it's really rideable good.
okay?
And we have the link in the chat. So if you guys want to see more like on the registration time, the practice times, make sure you click on that link and head over there. You know, their signups are, it's, hang on, I got that here. With 9 to 10:30. And let me go back. Nope. I just put that in. Yep.
Yeah.
So that whole park there is built on a par 3 hole.
Wow.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome.
And it is, where's registration? It's in there. Can you read that?
Jesus.
We'll get it. 10 to 12.
Racing starts ASAP. I know they mentioned having a riders meeting,
Yes.
and then they were going to be choosing your opponent, drawing names, if you will.
Be a good time.
It will be. Maybe next year. That'd be the goal.
Yes.
You got to make it there if you get a chance. I
Ugh.
know you said you couldn't make it this year, but
Well, you know, if the BMX season wasn't so damn short in Michigan, and we didn't have
Midwest.
a million like state races to get in, and
yeah,
there's
you have what about 3 weeks of riding weather?
yeah,
Pretty much.
yeah.
It's like two tops.
In between raindrops and melting humidity.
Yep.
Although preaching to the choir about humidity for you guys, but
Yeah, we can tell you all about the humidity.
Yeah, well, we're not going to listen because you guys also have your winter, which your winter compared to the Midwest winter is when I walk outside.
See, we have 3 weeks of winter. You have 3 weeks of summer.
yep,
Yeah.
that's right.
And when I walk outside in the winter, my face hurts from the weather because it's that cold.
Yep.
You're like, oh, I got to go load my bike up and go to the skate park or the indoor. You're like,
That's
my
why-
car won't start because it's that cold out.
Right.
I did some work in Michigan. I worked on a couple of golf courses in Jackson, Michigan.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
right by Melissa and I.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I probably went there and killed a ton of grass.
I forgot the name of it. It's been a long time.
Yeah. Well,
That was in 2099.
I wasn't even sober. Isn't that when we dated the first time?
No.
Melissa, not Mitch. I didn't know Mitch. back
That was
then.
like, well, dear. No, that would have been 2002.
Well, you know, it all kind of was a blur.
Gee, thanks.
I always remembered you.
yeah.
baby.
Oh, whatever.
It's your trivia time. That's a segue, folks.
It's a shitty one. Is what that
It's Friday.
That's right.
Brian is not allowed to win.
Especially 'cause you probably heard me saying it.
Yeah, I know.
Not allowed to Google either.
Yeah, that's a good prize pack right there.
You think so?
Yeah.
Oh, God, me and this microphone. Chris Beer, I don't know how you do this microphone. This is why I sit back there.
Velvet Smooth's back there
I
this evening.
guess. I know.
Velvet Smooth.
All right,
ladies and gentlemen.
guys. I got a heavy pedal zine here, number 6. Going in this one, I got our usual. I guess there's no good color back there. Sticker pack here. Lots of usual suspects. Thanks to MCS, I got a lightning brake cable in red, cherry red. You didn't need that, did you?
I'll just order another one.
I just realized that there was a red and a gold one left. I'm like, well, you might
Sorry.
be getting JT's very own brake
I won't autograph
cable
it.
there.
I'll forge Mitch's signature on it so it has value.
And, you know, being that we're in the midst of summer, we have these really
Swamp
fantastic,
ass cooling towels.
yeah, T-bone cooling towel here. Those are great. And then your ATB backpack. All right. Just for fun. Is that outside?
We're not in Flint, so I haven't figured out if it's gunshots yet or
I
fireworks.
thought the cat was up there maybe hanging himself. Hopefully nobody else can hear that.
We'll
but-
put Mitch on the screen. You can run up and check.
Okay. I want to know whose nickname is the Butcher.
Ooh, very broad question.
It is a broad question.
Yeah, it's good. It's good. And with that, we're going to dive into the showcase intro here. And it's brought to you by Answer BMX. Shout out to Michelle, John, and Blake for supporting our cause here. And we got a couple things here we want to cover. Tomorrow, along with the Wick Outlaw Jam on the east side of Michigan. So when you're looking at your hand backwards, it's over by the thumb, your thumb. That's where that track is. These guys are good peeps. We're going to be heading over there for their state qualifier. Kurt, second year running the track, doing an awesome job. Didn't have to talk him down from a ledge today.
Yeah, they actually raced tonight, so they're really.
I hope they're
making sure
listening.
Everything's dialed in.
Yeah, it's a fun track, and what Mitch was saying about building tracks for your rider base. Yeah. They've done an awesome job over there. They have a great group that helps, and the individual that makes our hats for the show, she was welding, grinding, and working on the gate. They rebuilt the gate. So shout out to Natalie, right? Natalie, yeah. They got a great group over there. So look, if you're Ohio, Indiana, and you want a fun time, we'll be there. So it'll be a fun time. Bring your cowbells. Always a good time.
Did you talk about registration?
More
they do have
cowbell.
online registration too.
Oh, they do. I totally did not do it.
Uh-oh.
Is it still open?
I think it was until
3 o'clock today, wasn't it?
10 today.
Oh, well, I know the TO. I'll email him.
I don't know. You could always try the link.
Yeah, we can. See?
You never.
Good segue.
know.
And our next little bit of showcase information for you is the Dirty Jersey Dirt Jump Jam.
Say that.
I
10 times
can't.
Fast.
That's why I had to.
Jersey Dirt Jump
I had to
Jam.
slow down and say it.
Dirty Jersey Dirt Jump Jam.
That's the greatest name ever.
Saturday, August 28th
Yes.
in Egg Harbor Township, New Jersey.
You think
Wow.
Dave and Josh might go?
I don't know. I don't know how close that is to them.
I don't know either.
9 to 10:30 registration. What is this?
It's going on with their state race qualifier too at that track too. So
So the
Are those
state race is
trails-
happening?
Are those the trails that are across the street?
nope.
In the woods?
This is they could be. So when I talked earlier, it was a one jump, and it's going to be there's two kind of lips to it, so like a bigger one, smaller one, and younger kids are going to go on a smaller gap side, but they're going to be doing that kind of in conjunction with the state qualifier there. And
Or is it something they built close to the
yes.
track there?
yeah, because
Like-
I asked if hey, you want to join? Couldn't join, but we're gonna
No,
get him
that'd
on.
be
We're gonna get him
great,
on next. We're gonna get him on Wednesday.
That's good. They're good people up there.
Yeah, absolutely. And what they have is a ton of sponsors. It's going to be an awesome time there. They got S&M in there. They've got Rico. They've got Chippendale, Union Square Shoes.
Mhm.
Profile.
Sugarcane.com.
Thanks. I really should have blown this up so I could read it. Yeah, it's going to be a fun time, and we'll get everybody on here in the next few shows to talk a little
So,
bit more about this.
Cash prizes for the top 3 riders.
It's going down. It's going
so
down.
one old school style dirt jump, 2 classes.
Yep.
That should be a
16
good time.
and then under 16. Or wait, 16 and under, and then 16 and up.
Yep. And if you guys
Say this
want
already?
more info, we're going to put Todd Walk information into the chat.
Wow.
And whether he likes it or not, he'll be on a future show to talk about this in more depth than we are right now. But we're going to have his email, Facebook page, and
Yeah.
website, his phone number. So if you guys want more information on it, and we're going to look forward to the recap on this and seeing some of the footage from it. Man, because how exciting. Just a big hucker to go after that thing. Just one jump, throw it out there, and they're going to average your 3 scores. So if you just, eat shit the first time. It's okay. Just land one banger and you're good to go.
Yeah, they used to do that at a lot of tracks back in the day.
Yeah. We'll have to ask them what their scoring.
There used to always be a dirt jump contest mixed in with a race.
Yeah.
I like it.
I think their scoring should be like 1 to 72.
Why 72?
Just 72.
1 to 72.
Just 72. Just
That
70.
is like such a variable.
Not the Olympics.
Well, we already know they. Never mind. I'm not sure they knew how to score regardless.
They definitely didn't have the announcer.
Questions on that freestyle.
And that information is in the chat. So if you want more on that, you can click on the links that are in the chat, along with the state qualifier going on over at Can-Am. You got any answers for your trivia question? Ooh, it's a stumper.
Sure do not.
No one knows
I guess not.
the real name.
Nobody feels like Googling for my prize pack. It's all right. I can roll it over to Wednesday if nobody gets it.
Mitch, while we are waiting on somebody to make an attempt here, Melissa's going to let us know about next week's show, and we're going to hand it over to you after she tells us who's going to come on next week, which this half of the duo that's going to be on Wednesday's show is in the chat tonight, and we're going to toss it over to you for shout outs and thank you. So Melissa, let them know who's coming up.
I suppose it's time to round out the trifecta, right?
It is.
So this is going to be number 3, although not necessarily in third place at this point in time. But
it's a
on
tight race.
next Wednesday, August 11th, we'll be hosting another episode of the All Things BMX show with Nick Jones and Scott Angus, who are the managers for the J&R Bicycles national teams. East Coast, West Coast, I believe, is how they're divided. So those two are going to join us, and we've talked with some of their competition in the past, so I'm excited to hear about...
It better be a shit-talking show.
I'm excited to hear about how they run their team, and...
You got Nick Jones on there. There's going to be some fun time.
James Vicario, I'm talking to you. Howard Cato,
Howard Cato.
bring the shit talking.
Well, we'll know the standings by showtime next Wednesday.
Well, it'd take me like a half hour to find them right now.
Well, no, I'm sure Nick will have it.
Nick, what are the standings? It's going to be a good show. That's going to be a good show.
I always look forward to looking at Facebook every day just to see stuff that Nick posts.
Oh,
amen to
if you're
that.
not following him,
you're
missing out. I love the fact, what was the one about his fluffy? Was it about him getting in shape? If you like me in my shape now, then I won't go to the gym or something. It was I laughed way too hard. I think I broke a blood vessel in my eye laughing at that one. Nick, what's the standings? Get him in there. Carter, I know Rick knows these things by heart, so he can put them in the chat right now. So, Mitch, shout outs and thank yous. Make sure you plug the name of your new company.
And your wife.
Shout outs. Well, first off, I probably wouldn't be where I'm at today if it weren't for Tom and Jason. We worked together for 6-7 years. He pretty much took me around the world, showed me the ropes on the Supercross stuff, and much appreciated on that. Obviously, got to say shout out to my beautiful wife watching from Colombia. Love you, dear. Shout out to all the track directors that I've worked with throughout the years on all the tracks. Big thank you to you guys, and keep up the hard work that you're doing.
Thank you.
Big Brian Green over here, sitting next to me over here. Well, not next to me, but on the other couch. Always good to talk racing with him. He's always pretty knowledgeable on some things. And thank you for you guys for what you're doing for the sport. I think it's a good thing. Need more of it. Yeah, pretty much. That's pretty much it, I think. Yeah.
Well, we appreciate you.
Well, yeah, forgot about my own company. Didn't want to boast too much, but I have started my own track business, BMX Tracks International. All my contact information's on there, as you can see. If you got any questions, you want me to come help you out, give me a call, hit me up. I'll be more than happy to help you out as all I can.
We're excited to get you up here in Michigan, Mitch. We got some
Yeah,
work.
looking forward to it.
Mitch is going to come up here and do the little ripping in the mitten.
That's right.
Ripping in the mitten.
Yeah, buddy. And
Need some ripping.
you know what? We got to give thanks where they're due. So
Yes.
Aaron Ruby, who designed Mitch's logo. Thank you, Aaron.
Yeah.
Yep.
He did Melissa and I's tattoo. He did our
did.
little breast cancer tattoos here. So
Yeah.
shout out to him. Thank you, because I had an idea, but it did not come out. It did not correlate
yeah,
correctly. And
no.
I tossed it over to Aaron, and he was
brought it
like,
to vision for
he was
sure.
as good as Brian Fell when he designed our tent. Like, did Laura draw this? Like, no, Laura is 9. She can draw way better than I can. And he took those ideas, Mitch's ideas, made this happen. And thank you, Aaron. We really appreciate it. And we wish you the best of luck with the company. We know it's going to be a tremendous success. We got your back anytime you want to come back on the show. You're always welcome back on the show.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
And we put your contact information in the chat numerous times, which we'll also share into our group page, which we encourage you guys to join the All Things BMX Show Facebook group, because Facebook kind of throttles where we can reach. So join the group page, and we encourage everyone to share and post in there all the things you have going on at your track, your trails, your pump tracks, your clubs, your organizations. Post it in there. Please do that. Let us share it when people don't use the email address that we plug 976 times during a show. I have to reach into there to pull things into the show. So,
Which is info@allthingsbmxshow.com.
Right on the money.
Oh, there it is. Bay Area 5110 or 510 2808. Sharks 2,787 and JR 2,766.
That's tight.
Wow. That's crazy.
No one's paying attention.
That's a couple of
they're
first
paying-
finishes. And
They're
that's
paying
it.
attention to that division only.
Wow.
Yep.
That's all.
That's crazy.
Yep. Just the national teams. That's awesome. Well, shout out to them. And look, we're excited to have the final
Yeah.
right there.
That, like I said, we had to complete every intention of completing the trifecta. So
Yeah.
I'm glad it worked out.
It was
so
tough
soon.
getting J&R on. They're busy people.
Yeah.
I mean, Nick's very busy.
Yeah.
Very
well,
busy.
I wouldn't want to take him away from his day job.
No. I wouldn't either.
I'm going to hang out with Kurt this weekend.
Nice.
And Kurt is
I
the
gotta go.
owner of J&R.
Yeah, I went and did a track at his house a couple months ago, and it's just a natural surface. Well, it's a slurry surface, and they've had tons of rain on it, and it's developed a few bad areas in it. So I'm gonna go do a little fix up for him this Sunday.
Nice. And you know what? We got to say, everybody, big shout out to Connor.
Yeah.
I know you were looking it up.
Yeah. I mean, he just posted an update.
Did he say that All
on-
Things BMX is the greatest Wednesday night and Friday
I mean,
night
I
show
can
ever?
Pretend that he
Okay,
did,
thank you.
but
He just got back to Vegas.
Yeah.
Which, if you guys didn't know, we have the Vegas local jersey on Velvet Smooth in the background.
So I'll share this. He just posted 4 minutes ago. He says, I'm finally back home and on the road to recovery from Tokyo. I have about 4 to 5 days that are completely missing from memory from competition day to the following few days. I'm so thankful for Team USA and USA cycling staff who were there to help me the whole way through the process and get me home. I am not going to lie. I was bummed. That doesn't seem like a strong enough word, but I was bummed when I was told that I qualified for the Olympic final from the stretcher. I had worked so hard and done absolutely everything I could to be ready to contend for another medal. I felt as if I was on track to go for another podium, but alas, it just wasn't meant to be. And as they say, that's BMX. I am thankful and proud of all of those who helped me to get ready for this day. And I will say this, on the biggest stages, we showed up. The only male Olympic BMXer to make 3 finals in the history of the sport.
My man.
What's next? I do not know. Time to get healthy, rest up a bit, and appreciate the people around me who have been so amazing this month. Thank you, and I will see you at the races. Well, we congratulate once again all the Olympic athletes and welcome you home with open arms, and we thank you for your dedication to this country and representing us the best that you could.
What a badass.
Yeah, all of them.
Every one of them.
Yeah. 4 or 5 days is a lot of time
Yeah.
to be missing.
Yeah, well, even before that, those that have stood on top of one of those Supercross hills,
No, thank you. I mean,
ain't no dude wipe
can't even imagine.
gonna help your butthole as tight as that thing is puckered when you're standing up there,
Yeah.
which is amazing when you watch them
Yeah.
Three-story building.
right down that thing, and like at the bottom of the thing where you hit the flat bottom. That's amazing.
Yeah, you're pulling a couple of G's at the bottom.
I just watched a 7-year-old bomb Louisville's track. 7. And he cleared the first
I
jump.
mean, that's called no fear.
The kid's got a future.
You know what it feels like.
Yeah, my knees give out.
Exactly.
I mean, I'm 44, man. I ain't going to last.
Awesome.
Oh.
Awesome. Well, Mitch, thank you so much for your time tonight. We
Thank you,
appreciate
guys.
you.
Hey, does Brian have a guess on who the trivia question was?
Brett, you got a guess? No? You don't have a guess at all?
Man.
You don't own a
Who?
smartphone?
Who is called the Butcher?
Whose nickname is the Butcher?
His nickname is the Butcher. I've heard that nickname somewhere, and I can rattle that brain.
Melissa threw everyone for a curve
I
this
know.
evening.
I'll have
She
to.
did.
I'm gonna have to put that on the sticky note for next Wednesday.
We just ain't got the right people watching. That's why.
Nobody's into he's freestyle, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
He's a jumper.
he's actually
Is
a
he better?
badass. He still hangs out, does some races and
Yeah, all right.
freestyles, and
All right, I'll give you the answer.
The
Next
Butcher.
week?
The nickname, the Butcher.
Or should I just do it?
Don't know. I'm sure when I hear it, I'll know it.
well, I don't know any birthday. I don't know any birthdays. I was trying to recall
My
some
mama is 65 tomorrow.
tomorrow. Mama Mock.
Tomorrow.
Mm.
So loving.
Why are
that.
people sending us answers? And
What?
people are sending answers into me directly on my.
It doesn't work that way.
You got to put it in the chat, you guys. It's
All
not
right,
Stromberg.
Anyways, let's wrap it.
We
It's not
we could
Stromberg.
pull an we
Stromberg is the machine. He's
yeah
not
we
the
could pull an
Butcher.
audible and we could ask a trivia question with about Robert Cardoza.
What would that be?
I mean,
Brian wants to know who they call Mr. Smooth.
Jeremy Smith.
wrong.
No?
Before Jeremy,
Oh, I don't know.
Craig Reynolds.
Ah.
Yeah.
You know
Right.
what? Let's have Mitch ask a trivia question.
Okay.
We don't. It's Friday. We do it. We test.
Me
We
do it?
test things on Friday.
Mm,
Group sucks. Rick says.
trivia
The
question.
group doesn't suck. You guys, I Google. I don't. Do you think I know who the Butcher was before I Googled? No. So pick
You want
up
me to
your
come up with
happy
a
ass
trivia
smartphone
question?
and put in BMX the Butcher and see who pops up.
Uh,
Now we're gonna cancel that question. We're gonna let Mitch
All
talk.
right.
We're gonna.
I got it. Do you want me to come up with a trivia question off the top of my head?
Hell yeah, man! We ain't got nothing else going on.
Hmm. Let's see here. Ooh. Hmm.
We all know that Brian Wilson made that won his bracelet in poker, so we can't use that question.
Yeah.
No, it's not Dougie Butcher, Chad.
Man.
We can give the answer at this point. Joe Kowalski.
Who?
Joe Kowalski.
Oh no.
Well, yeah, he's a pretty badass freestyler.
Joe what?
Kowalski. Am I saying his last name right?
Kowalski.
Yeah, that's how I would say.
Yeah, that's how I'd say it.
Yeah.
I'll copy and paste the spelling into the chat so I can't be called out on a 30-foot violation that nobody filmed.
Well, that's easy. Hollywood. I'm thinking Mike Moran. You hear what Brian said?
Well, hang on. Cardoza, that was the point of the question. Cardoza just blew up Melissa saying, how are we supposed to know he's a freestyler? We're all things BMX.
That's right.
Okay, I got one for
Ooh,
you.
here it comes. All right. Hang on.
I got one for you.
Don't answer it.
Okay, well.
He raced for a while,
All right.
but he's also dirt jumper now.
That's all we got?
Tom Ritz taught him how to ride.
Did he hint to this on the show that he was on with us? I don't. Tom Ritz taught him how to ride. He's a current dirt jumper. Started out as a racer.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we can't take Jane's answer right now. That's Robert's wife because she's still on a piss up from when Kai White and oh shoot, I just forgot her name. The Great Britain rider, the girl, Schreiber, shit, Bethany. Yeah, oh, fuck. I'm gonna get yelled at. God damn it. Anyway,
from Great Britain's really awesome medaling in the BMX events.
Ooh,
Tommy Zula.
Nope.
That might be the first time Craig ever got an answer wrong.
Wow.
That's legit.
Tom might have helped him learn how to ride, but that's not who we're looking at.
I think Zula's pretty young, and yeah.
Yeah, this guy's older than Zula.
All right, Brian over there helping you out on the Google now.
No.
Boy, that's a good one.
I know the answer because I know the guy.
Yeah, text me that. Let's see.
Text you the answer?
Yeah. Well, I'm not gonna win, but.
Is there a hint?
Well, it's Ritz.
Tom Ritz trained him.
Tommy Ritz helped him racing. Now he's a current dirt jumper. Started out as a racer.
Where's he from?
Yeah. Midwest?
Originally Colorado, I think.
Oh, I know the time frame now, but I still can't. Oh, wait a minute.
I just sent it to you.
Yeah, well, I'm not going to look at my phone, but I think I got it. I think I might. Yep. I think Colorado gave it away.
Yeah, I think if I remember right, it's Colorado.
Mm-hmm. And if it's not, it's going to be. Yep. That's a good one. That's a stumper, by the way.
Well, stumper to the right, for the right person, though.
Because he is a badass. And
yeah.
So he's a current jumper.
Yep.
Older than Zula.
Yep. From Colorado.
Trained by Ritz.
Racing.
Yep.
You want me to tell you where he lives now?
Where does he live now?
Which will probably give it away.
Cape Coral.
No.
Chula Vista.
Where?
Cali.
Where?
Cali.
Ooh, that's, yep.
All the jumpers of the world.
Well, those that didn't escape California. This is a good one. It's a good one.
Nobody but Craig was brave at a stab and who this might be.
I mean,
we can tell we have a very strong
BMX
racing contingent.
I mean, Cardoza's pissed off right now. He's probably going to start boycotting us.
Apparently, Tom's not watching. He would have chimed in.
Ooh, Chris Fox. That's
nope.
It's a good guess. Good guess. He's a badass, though.
Yeah.
Anyone got his phone number? I'll make sure I call him from T-Bone's phone number so he answers. That's a good one.
Is the initials too easy?
Oh shit! Look at this guy coming in with the heat.
Cordova, Tyler Truman. That's his answer? Cordova? Is that right?
Mm-hmm.
Who said that?
Tyler Truman.
Oh yeah, he's watching. He would get it. Good job, Tyler.
Nice, Tyler. Well, send me your address. Message the Facebook page, and we'll get this prize pack out to you.
Nice job, man.
Yeah.
Well, we, you know what? We really, really appreciate you
He's
guys.
a good kid. Tyler Truman. He's a good kid. He's a good builder, good rider.
Hey, if you and Brian want to hang out for a little while, we're gonna open up the Zoom room if you guys want.
Yeah.
Or I can tell the heathens that we're not gonna do it this evening. It's up to you. And we can chat in the after the show, and I'll post the link here in the chat for the show. So if Tyler wants to come in and talk a little bit, he can. And I want to thank everybody for joining us this evening on our Friday night show. We really appreciate it, you guys. It's been a lot of fun hanging out with Mitch. Yeah. Mitch, thank you so much again for being super patient and working with us to get you on the show, man.
Thanks for the invite.
Yeah, and join in next week when we hear all about the JR teams.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna have to watch that one just to watch Nick.
That's right. Wednesday night, 8:00 Eastern Standard Time. We'll be here.
All right, and for those of you guys, don't forget, make sure you like us, follow us, subscribe, all that fun stuff. We're on all of, literally, I mean, if there's a new podcast, I just submitted to something called Rumble. Like, I don't even know now. Wait, they just message us.
Rumble, not Bumble, right?
Because
we got to talk about
No, it's not Bumble.
Just checking.
Nope. But yeah, we're on it. So if you guys want to see the replays, and we'll post the podcast version here in a little while. Thank you guys again. We really appreciate it. Mitch, again, Brian, thank you guys. We really appreciate it.
Thank you. Y'all have a good evening. We'll hang out.
Cool.
Absolutely.
Y'all was coming in, and now you're backing out. It's hard to talk big with a shotgun in your mouth. I'm glad you brought your friends. They can watch it go down. I got mine too. So welcome to my house. 'Cause these are my people.